This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you do not have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
I'm Abigail Ward.
This week we watched Furry Vengeance. In the Oregon wilderness, a real estate developer's new housing subdivision faces a unique group of protesters. Local woodland creatures who don't want their homes disturbed. Let's watch. We got an email.
Mm-hmm.
We got a fantastic email.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me just start by reading it out.
Okay.
Dear Michelle and Abby, mother of your fabulous friend Gaden Souza here.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Some of your recent episodes have spurred me to take action and send a fan email. So there's a little header. 1:15, you got served. Your podcast keeps me company when I am driving, and in mid-July, apologies for taking so long to write this email. No apologies needed. On my way back from Sydney, I was chuckling out loud in the intro of 1:15 You Got Served, with Michelle's talking in a silly voice about us listeners as worms. This reminded me of the song Dr. Worm by They Might Be Giants, released in 1998. In case you have not heard of this catchy little song, here is the link. I am sure you will be delighted by it, along with the slightly odd animated worm and its electric guitar playing rat. I do like that song.
I love you, Trish, but you haven't even finished the email, but I love you, Trish.
I love
my
you, Trish.
mother-in-law is also a Trish, so I've got two very special
fun.
Trishes in my life.
Continuing on, I thoroughly enjoyed the songs Tropical Beanie, Abby Strong and Powerful, and Support Team Abby.
Tropical Beanie.
Maybe you could invite listeners to share songs they have for their family members. In the spirit of this, I was thinking of a song I made up about our cat when the kids were little. Meow was a very large tabby, and every morning when the kids would hop into bed, cuddling up one on either side of me, Meow would sit on my chest, eager for some attention. I would put the sheet over his head like a nun's habit and wriggle his head back and forth, up and down, singing the song on a loop. I attach it for your listening pleasure. And it is attached. So I can't get the link to work, so Trish, please send it to me in some other format so that we can share it with the listeners.
Please, I'm dying. I'm actually I can't wait for our next recording in hopes that you've responded so we can listen to this song.
I imagine it goes like this. Cat as a nun, you are a cat and you are a nun. There is none other cat like you. Jesus loves you. That's why you're a nun.
This is what I hope it will be.
Uh-huh.
If you are a kitty, you are a nun too. If you are a kitty, then you are a nun too. Spiritual kitty, holy kitty, 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 kitty. Let me take it again.
Okay.
Take two.
All right. Take two.
All right. Bum 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 bum.
Hey.
Bum 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 bum. Nunny kitty.
Kitty.
Give me a cut all of this.
Okay.
Cut everything I've done.
No
Please.
way.
Please.
No way.
I thought I could riff better than this. I feel like a year ago I could. I don't know what's happened to my brain.
We kept watching these movies.
Well, I'll share with you guys. I don't know if I shared this song, but in the spirit of Trish enjoying them, I also want to share another one with you quickly, Trish. Is that right now what I've been singing a lot to Claude is about giving kissies with my lippies. And this is how the song goes.
Uh-huh.
If you don't got the lippies, then you don't get the kissies. If you don't got the lippies, then you don't get a kiss. If you don't got the lippy, and I sing that on repeat for like a good half hour.
It's good. It is good and important for him to know that if he in some way lost his lippies, he would not get a kiss.
You're not going to
anymore.
get a kissy from me. No,
not anymore.
Number one requirement: you got to have the lippies first.
You gotta have lips.
Yeah,
you gotta have lips. Here's the second part of the email, by the way, which is 114, the cat in the hat. I always avoided watching Cat in the Hat at the thought, concerned at the thought of Mike Myers running around butchering Dr. Seuss. However, Abby's enthusiasm had me reaching for the mouse when I got home to do a little Google search, and I watched the trailer, which, by the way, is far from the only person who has messaged either of us to say that they watched it specifically because of Abby's enthusiasm.
I know.
Something that was not what happened in the wake of either Urban Legends or Wrinkle in Time.
Gaiden himself watched Cat in the Hat.
Yes. Whether this will eventuate into a full-blown watching of the movie, I cannot be sure, but for now, please know you have piqued my curiosity.
Oh, I'm glad.
Recently, we had a celebration in Armadale Mall for Book Week. My sister was visiting from Sydney, and we had a fabulous time dressed as Thing 1 and Thing 2, wriggling and running around, high-fiving people. We are twins. I'm the eldest by 3 minutes, so I was Thing 1. I thought, considering your adoration of the movie, you might enjoy the following photos. We even did a little impromptu dance on stage with a friend dressed as Heidi. And then I've showed you these photos of Trish,
them.
twin, dressed as Thing 1 and Thing 2. One last thing. Thank you, Michelle, for shutting the talk of dog licking / earwax conversation down. It was horrifying. Oh, yes, and goodness, I was concerned recently when one of your episodes was 25 minutes in before Gaiden's name was mentioned. However, I was completely delighted when he hosted the quiz in episode 108 to save you from watching The Human Centipede 2. He is a true friend and hero.
I love him.
Keep up the good work, you two.
Thank you so much, Trish. Also, Gaiden is the kind of person where, like, Gaiden makes me smile a lot because he's such a good, kind, wonderful person. And then his mum does the same thing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I have met her. She is delightful. She referred to me as my full name, Michelle St. Clair, at every opportunity, something that I find delightful.
You're wonderful. Thank you for that, Trish. Let me have another go at Cat Nun.
Well, wait, there is one little last bit at the end. Lots of love to you both. You could be really proud of yourselves for creating such a funny and interesting podcast, and thank you for watching bad movies so we don't have to.
Oh,
Yeah.
my heart.
So, in the spirit of something so beautiful, do you want to talk about Furry Vengeance?
Yeah, I also want to have another go at the Cats.
Oh, you want to do it now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Count me in.
Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm a nun. I'm a cat. I'm a nun cat. Here's my habit. Black and white. Here's my fur. It's white and black. I don't know why I'm doing this voice, but I'm a cat.
This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you do not have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
I'm Abigail Ward.
This week we watched Furry Vengeance. In the Oregon wilderness, a real estate developer's new housing subdivision faces a unique group of protesters. Local woodland creatures who don't want their homes disturbed. Let's watch. We got an email. Mm-hmm. We got a fantastic email. Mm-hmm. Oh, let me just start by reading it out.
Okay.
Dear Michelle and Abby, mother of your fabulous friend Gaiden Souza here.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Some of your recent episodes have spurred me to take action and send a fan email. So there's a little header. 1:15, you got served. Your podcast keeps me company when I am driving, and in mid-July, apologies for taking so long to write this email. No apologies needed. On my way back from Sydney, I was chuckling out loud in the intro of 1:15 You Got Served, with Michelle's talking in a silly voice about us listeners as worms. This reminded me of the song Dr. Worm by They Might Be Giants, released in 1998. In case you have not heard of this catchy little song, here is the link. I am sure you will be delighted by it, along with the slightly odd animated worm and its electric guitar-playing rat. I do like that song.
I love you, Trish. But you haven't even finished the email, but I love you, Trish.
My
mother-in-law is also a Trish, so I've got two very special
fun.
Trishes in my life.
Continuing on, I thoroughly enjoyed the songs Tropical Beanie, Abby Strong and Powerful, and Support Team Abby.
Tropical Beanie.
Maybe you could invite listeners to share songs they have for their family members. In the spirit of this, I was thinking of a song I made up about our cat when the kids were little. Meow was a very large tabby, and every morning when the kids would hop into bed cuddling up one on either side of me, Meow would sit on my chest, eager for some attention. I would put the sheet over his head like a nun's habit and wriggle his head back and forth, up and down, singing the song on a loop. I attach it for your listening pleasure. And it is attached. So I can't get the link to work, so Trish, please send it to me in some other format so that we can share it with the listeners.
Please, I'm dying. I'm actually like, I can't wait for our next recording in hopes that you've responded so we can listen to this song.
I imagine it goes like this. Cat as a nun, you are a cat and you are a nun. There is none other cat like you. Jesus loves you. That's why you're a nun.
This is what I hope it will be.
Uh-huh.
If you are a kitty, you are a nun too. If you are a kitty, then you are a nun too. Spiritual kitty, holy kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty. Let me take it again.
Okay.
Take two.
All right. Take two. Take two.
Right. Bum 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 bum.
Hey.
Nunny kitty.
Kitty.
Give me a cut all of this.
Okay.
Cut everything I've done.
No
Please.
way.
Please.
No way.
I thought I could riff better than this. I feel like a year ago I could. I don't know what's happened to my brain.
We kept watching these movies.
Well, I'll share with you guys. I don't know if I shared this song, but in the spirit of Trish enjoying them, I also want to share another one with you quickly, Trish. Is that right now what I've been singing a lot to Claude is about giving kissies with my lippies. And this is how the song goes.
Uh-huh.
If you don't got the lippies, then you don't get the kisses. If you don't got the lippies, then you don't get a kiss. If you don't got the lippy. And I sing that on repeat for like a good half hour.
It's good. It is good and important for him to know that if he in some way lost his lippies, he would not get a kiss.
You're not going to get a kissy from me. No.
Not anymore.
Number one requirement, you got to have the lippies first.
You gotta have lips.
Yeah.
You gotta have lips. Here's the second part of the email, by the way, which is 114, The Cat in the Hat. I always avoided watching Cat in the Hat at the thought, concerned at the thought of Mike Myers running around butchering Dr. Seuss. However, Abby's enthusiasm had me reaching for the mouse when I got home to do a little Google search, and I watched the trailer, which, by the way, is far from the only person who has messaged either of us to say that they watched it specifically because of Abby's enthusiasm.
I know.
Something that was not what happened in the wake of either Urban Legends or Wrinkle in Time.
Gaten himself watched Cat in the Hat.
Yes. Whether this will eventuate into a full-blown watching of the movie, I cannot be sure, but for now, please know you have piqued my curiosity.
Oh, I'm glad.
Recently, we had a celebration in Armadale Mall for Book Week. My sister was visiting from Sydney, and we had a fabulous time dressed as Thing 1 and Thing 2, wriggling and running around, high-fiving people. We are twins. I'm the eldest by 3 minutes, so I was Thing 1. I thought, considering your adoration of the movie, you might enjoy the following photos. We even did a little impromptu dance on stage with a friend dressed as Heidi. And then I've showed you these photos of Trish, twin, dressed as Thing 1 and Thing 2. One last thing. Thank you, Michelle, for shutting the talk of dog licking / earwax conversation down. It was horrifying. Oh, yes, and goodness, I was concerned recently when one of your episodes was 25 minutes in before Gaydon's name was mentioned. However, I was completely delighted when he hosted the quiz in episode 108 to save you from watching The Human Centipede 2. He is a true friend and hero.
I love him.
Keep up the good work, you two.
Thank you so much, Trish. Also, Gaydon is the kind of person where, like, Gaydon makes me smile a lot because he's such a good, kind, wonderful person. And then his mum does the same thing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I have met her. She is delightful. She referred to me as my full name, Michelle St. Clair, at every opportunity. Something that I find delightful.
You're wonderful. Thank you for that, Trish. Let me have another go at Cat Nun.
Well, wait, there is one little last bit at the end. Lots of love to you both. You can be really proud of yourselves for creating such a funny and interesting podcast. And thank you for watching bad movies so we don't have to.
Oh,
Yeah.
my heart.
So, in the spirit of something so beautiful, do you want to talk about Furry Vengeance?
Yeah, I also want to have another go at the Cats.
Oh, you want to do it now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Count me in.
Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm a nun. I'm a cat. I'm a nun cat. Here's my habit. Black and white. Here's my fur. It's white and black. I don't know why I'm doing this voice, but I'm a cat and I'm a nun.
It really looked like it came out of you without your consent.
Just cut it. Just cut it.
I mean, there's an interesting dynamic with you and I.
Just cut it, Michelle.
Listeners, Abby is staring dead-eyed at no one in particular as she realizes that I'm not going to cut it.
I used to be better at this. Well, with my confidence crushed, let's get into the episode.
Yeah, speaking of crushed confidence, this week we watched Furry Vengeance. It's an interesting movie.
You know, if the Cat Nun song had just linked, I wouldn't have had to embarrass myself. This is Trish's fault. Trish, love you. That was your fault. You made that happen.
I'm really happy with the song that I came up with.
Do it again.
No.
You can't remember it, can
No,
you?
I can't remember it. Nun and a cat or something like that.
Cat or a nun.
Which one is she? She is both.
And none.
What are we all but none? Yeah, it's a dark one, that one. Speaking of a dark one, this week we watched Furry Vengeance.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I keep describing this movie. This is how this was a good segue. I keep describing this to everyone I've had to mention I watched this as part of Brendan Fraser's dark period.
Yeah, truly. And I have to say, I obviously went into this film knowing nothing. Didn't expect Brendan Fraser to be in it, but also didn't expect Brooke Shields to be in it either.
Yeah.
And Ken Jeong as well. Mm-hmm. And Angela from The Office. And
Angela
I have to say,
Kinsey.
I was already like, we've already got like 4 pretty fucking good talents in this film, and yet it feels like it's a fake film.
It does feel like a fake film.
It's a fake film.
No, that's a great way to put it. Sometimes there's those movies that are bad in a specific way, and that way is that they feel like a fake movie. They feel like they're a movie that's on in the background of like 30 Rock or something.
Sometimes there's a bad film, but it feels like a real movie because like the production quality is still high. It still looks and feels like a movie. This didn't feel like a movie.
No.
It was a sham movie.
It feels like I'm watching someone commit tax fraud.
Yeah, it feels like
know?
I'm watching a movie that was in a movie. That's how it felt.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It is a fake movie in the background of something else, or like a throwaway gag. You know, they mention like, oh yeah, remember when Brendan Fraser was in that animal movie and then it whips over and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know?
100%. Speaking of the 30 Rock bits, as you mentioned, I was rewatching because there's a new Frasers coming out again. The 90s show that
isn't there 2 new Frasers coming out?
Is there?
There's like a reboot and a continuation.
Oh, leave it alone.
They're both.
I feel like the appeal of Frasier is that it was very 90s and atmospheric, Seattle 90s jazz clubs and
Sure.
you know that there's a great atmosphere to it.
All the tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
I know.
Are a huge
Leave the tossed
contributor.
salad and scrambled eggs alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Frasier's
I mean, it
left the building.
is already itself a spin-off of Cheers, but
Yeah, exactly. But like, let a good thing lie. Don't flog a dead horse.
it
Anyway,
had like 9 seasons.
I was rewatching the Kelsey Grammer series from 30 Rock.
Oh yes.
What's the best bus I can catch? Because I'm in Chinatown, baby.
Yeah.
Kelsey.
You want this cake
Kelsey.
signed as Fraser? Yes, and I should know. I'm Fraser. That's a great show. That's a great show, and he's very funny in it.
He's very good.
He's also one of the few Hollywood conservative who knows how to shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
You know? Notice how he's not being an absolute fucking knob all the time about it?
Well, also, have I know you haven't.
Maybe he is, and I just didn't know, but...
I watched the Beverly Hills, like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Beverly Hills Chihuahua. I was like, yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, I remember. I watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and there's a housewife in it called Camilla. And
Sure, married Prince Charles.
yeah, and Camilla is the wife was the wife of Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So she was really soft spoken, quite sweet, and she was devoted to him. Like she loved him. Everything she did was for Kelsey. Adored the man, and he's well known to be like an alcoholic. And at the time of the filming, he was an alcoholic.
That's rough.
He still was an alcoholic. And he was always in New York. She's in LA, and he's always away during the show. And she's like, oh, Kelsey's in New York doing this and filming that. And when he is on camera, he's not mean, but he's a bit disconnected. And then season 2 covers how the whole time he was in New York in season 1, he had a girlfriend that he had impregnated. And now he was leaving Camilla for his young girlfriend that was his maid.
Oh my God.
Who's having a son with him.
Oh my
And she's
God.
devastated. So season 1 is her doting on him, and season 2 is her being like, I've been betrayed. It's amazing watching this woman unfurl. And he's an asshole. An asshole.
Yeah, hey, I wasn't trying to imply he was a good person, just that he wasn't like James Woods level, like public monster.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I just never thought I would hear about Kelsey Grammer and like fucking Real Housewives colliding.
Right?
That's insane to me.
Yeah. It's also like in the Sydney Real Housewives. I love Real Housewives. And the Melbourne one is fantastic.
You did. I didn't know this.
The Real Housewives of Sydney is incredible because out of every single Real Housewives in the entire world, there's numerous. There's at least like 20 across the world.
There's many Real Housewives.
There's many cities of Real Housewives.
Yeah.
Sydney got cancelled after one season because the women were too nasty. And it was like the only one that it had that. And they were, in the first episode, this woman arrives. Her name's Athena X. The Athena X of today took lifetimes to create. That's her opening line. She wears this strange cape on the first night they all meet, and she rubs one of the other women the wrong way to such a point that the other woman rips the cape off of her and throws it into the harbour.
Oh my God.
They are bitches to each other. And what I'm getting to is that one of the housewives in the Sydney season is Lisa Upfield, the wife of David Upfield of the Nationals Party, the guy that was associated with Pauline Hanson. In fact, people thought he was having an affair with Pauline Hanson for a long time. Lisa Upfield in particular got slammed as one of the nastiest in the show, where when she becomes angry, most of the women are just like, why don't you sort yourself out, darling? Why don't you try and do this? Lisa Upfield goes, you're a fucking whore. You're a slut. You're just a slutty whore. So it's definitely worth a watch. And now Sydney's actually returning after having been cancelled for about 5 years.
Oh my
It's
God.
finally back.
With a new cast?
Yes.
Thank God.
I don't think they could bring back any of the women from the previous one. Anyway, Real Housewives ran over. Kelsey Grammer ran over. How did we get here?
I have no idea. Let's just go into the key details and let's, this episode, talk about furry vengeance.
We'll see about that. Okay, Sweaty.
Okay, so key details. This movie was made. This is now my quest in this episode is to make you talk about this.
You gotta wrangle me.
I have so many more notes.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I do also think it's fascinating when I have to wrangle you. Oh no, that's the normal dynamic.
Yeah.
So this movie came out in 2010. It was directed by Roger Kumble, as known for directing Cruel Intentions and, of course, Cruel Intentions 2.
Oh, okay.
Which is really funny to find out.
Yep.
Looking through his, like, well, I think it was like first directed thing, Cruel Intentions, and you're like, whoa, wow, this guy's legit. Second thing directed, direct-to-video Cruel Intentions 2.
Not so much.
Yeah, starring Brendan Fraser, Brooke Shields, Ken Jeong. It's also got like Rob Riggle and a whole bunch of other people. You know, he was in the very first. It opens with Riggle.
It opens with Riggle?
It opens with Riggle.
Oh, yeah. He always
yeah.
plays nasty businessmen on the phone.
He always plays that specific kind of jock guy.
Yeah.
And-
Did they get him in for Better Call Saul
I don't know. I haven't watched.
to play the exact same kind of character?
I haven't watched Better Call Saul. If they brought him in, then yes, because he used to be in the army. It's very clear that he's like loud in a way that those guys think are funny. I find it fascinating. He used to be on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
And I never understood it. And then I heard like a comedian who had talked to John Oliver, I think, about Rob Riggle. And it was essentially like he appeals to a very specific audience enormously.
Yeah.
And so like whenever he's around, it's usually to appeal to those people and they love him. And I'm like, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I actually think that's great.
That's nice.
We need different kinds of people, you know?
I just have to know if it's him I'm thinking of, because I feel like, he plays that same kind of jock all the time.
Yeah.
And no, it wasn't him.
Oh.
God, he was in everything, though.
Yeah.
He really was.
Because he's the easiest bully to bring in, you know?
You find a niche and you stick to it.
This movie was made for $35 million.
Okay.
It made $36.2 million. So, you know, big
return.
winner. And that means the returning actors are Ken Jeong from Big Mama's Like Father Like Son, Samantha Bee, who was in The Love Guru. In both this and that, she's in very, very minor roles.
Well, I think in The Love Guru, they cut her scene. Am I going crazy, or did they cut her scene?
I don't know.
I think they cut her scene because I had looked into Samantha Bee and then I looked into the fact that she got cut, and that's why I was like, that's why I don't recognize her.
Pseudo returning actor
Yeah.
Samantha Bee.
She was, yeah.
And of course, Roger Kumble himself was the director of College Road Trip.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
And let me just get into the overview. Dan Sanders, a real estate developer from Chicago, has moved to upstate Oregon in the forest of Rocky Springs to oversee a residential development for Green Company Lyman Enterprises. His family are frustrated to be both uprooted from their lives and removed from the city, but Dan assures them it will be short-term. Quickly, however, his boss reveals that the development will destroy much of the forest and take years longer than promised, to which Dan reluctantly agrees to oversee the project. These and several other compromises are seen as too much for the local wildlife, who then begin an intentional campaign of terror to get revenge on Dan. Eventually, tiring from their games and from his family's assumptions that he is going crazy, he works with a local drill sergeant. He's literally only ever credited as drill sergeant.
You don't have a local drill sergeant.
I don't know
here?
what that is referring to, what position or job that's referring to. I don't know
Everyone's
what
got
his
a local
status
drill
in the community is. He works with a local drill sergeant to round up all of the animals in the forest.
Yep.
Every single one.
Totally normal.
To relocate before the needed investors come to town. The investors arrive for the forest festival, but Dan finally realizes his moral complicity and frees the animals, who then enact revenge on the festival and on Dan's boss, Lyman, in particular, effectively ending the development deal. It is revealed that after this, Dan becomes a park ranger and enforces a fine of damaging the forest of $1 million.
It's way funnier when you say it than it is in the film.
It really is just like a sign. It's not even like a scene. It's just a panning shot that sees a sign with him with a big smile and then says fine for destruction of forest, $1 million.
Hey. So, from memory, when Gaiden did that wonderful trivia with us, he mentioned that there was only one Oscar winner that's ever been in this list. Does this mean this is the second?
Well, that was one Oscar that had been an all-star.
Oh, what was that? Who was the person?
It was Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe.
No, Willem Dafoe hadn't won an Oscar.
Oh, that's right. He hadn't won
Emma
an Oscar.
Stone.
It's Emma Stone. J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And so Brendan Fraser. Okay, so yeah, okay.
He hasn't been on it before.
But he is an Oscar winner.
He is an Oscar winner. He is another Oscar winner who's been on this.
Did you see The Whale?
No, I didn't. I had problems with the premise that made it less incentivized to go watch it, even though I want to support Brendan Fraser and stuff.
What was the problem with the premise?
The way that a lot of the movie, and again, I haven't watched it, just hearing from other people and stuff, the way that it engages with the character's fatness is problematic at best, from what I've heard, haven't seen it.
I saw it and I didn't think it was too problematic because this was a man that was eating enough to kill himself. So it was unhealthy for him. Doesn't mean everyone that's fat is necessarily doing unhealthy things or being unhealthy. I know that I'm not necessarily a massively overweight person, so maybe my opinion doesn't count for as much. However, I didn't think that there was anything problematic with the way they handled it. Sure. I think they handled it with great sympathy and interest and understanding into the mindset of someone that did this. And the interesting thing, not a spoiler, but his partner died from undereating, from starving himself. And he himself has begun to overeat, to kill himself. And it's something he's actively doing. I really liked it. I really thought it was quite beautiful and powerful as a film. And then in the final, I won't give anything away, but in the final moment, right at the end, me and Claude were gripped to the film the entire time. And in the last second of the film, they did something where me and Claude went, what? We kind of looked at each other and grimaced in the cinema.
Who
really
directed
tainted
it again? Was it Refn or was it the other one?
Oh my goodness. Let me find out.
I can never remember the name of that. Aronofsky?
I think it was Aronofsky.
I always get those two confused.
It was, Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah. Both, but
I really liked it.
I get them confused because they're both filmmakers who have made a movie that I like, and the rest of their movies, I'm like, oh my God, shut up.
It's not like it's a film being like, oh, look how disgusting he is because he's fat.
Oh, sure.
That's not what it's doing. But it's showing you that he's killing himself through what he's doing. What he's doing is unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's designed to kill him. Yeah. Anyway, it was really good. He deserved that fucking Oscar, man.
I believe you. But I want to talk about Furry Vengeance, okay? Because this movie was fucking buck wild.
Did you enjoy it? Yes or no?
I think I enjoyed it more than Love Guru.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I had more chuckles than I was expecting. In particular, the scene with Wallace Shawn, the Inkblot scene.
Yeah.
That's a good bit.
I was confused by the film when it began because I didn't know what to
Yes.
expect. And the title sequence was animated.
Yeah.
And when Claude walked
High
by,
effort.
he thought I was watching Happy Tree Friends and Friends.
Yeah, it did
It had
have that same
weird
animation
energy.
style.
He
yeah.
was like, well, it's called Furry Vengeance. Is it Happy Tree Friends?
Here's the thing, because this movie is a fucking like Halloween, Friday the 13th style serial killer movie for children.
Yes.
Because the opening scene is the classic like first death. It's the equivalent to Drew Barrymore and Scream fucking scab, you know. But
Yeah, dude,
now
it's
that's a scene that we cheer at.
Literally, Rob Riggle is he killed in that first scene? Because he falls off a cliff.
I have a theory. Yeah, so like the animals come for him with a fucking huge boulder, and then he's like, "Oh my god, I'm alive." Realizes he's at the edge of a cliff, and then he's thrown out. By the way, all of his dialogue is so on the nose. He's like, he answers the phone, "Oh, Mr. Lyman, how is it?" "Well, oh, Sanders?" There, it's like all like so primed to tell you information, but he literally at one point is like, "Don't pollute. Give me a break," and like throws his cigar out the window. The raccoon throws the cigar back at him, and he falls off the cliff. There is a little bit of dialogue that you can hear where he yells, "I quit." And I fully think they added it in ADR so that he doesn't just get murdered. But later, Ken Jeong is like, "Riggs has been missing."
He's dead, dude.
He's dead.
He's fully dead.
Yeah, as well, because like that area, that stretch of road is like a reception dead zone.
Yeah,
so
he's
his
in
phone goes
Oregon
silent
wilderness
first.
and he fell off a cliff. Dude's dead.
He's just driving and his phone goes silent and suddenly
Yeah.
he's attacked by a forest spirit. It means later when Brendan Fraser is driving down the same stretch of road and his phone goes dead, you're like,
right,
oh, he's in
it
the
is-
kill zone.
That's right. It is, as you say, it's the first kill of the film. It's like the Drew Barrymore and like the Scream in the first. Yeah. Also, the only way he would make it out of that like little like the gorge that he fell into is if he was some fucking badass, like that woman who was picked up by a hitchhiker and he cut off both of her arms.
Yeah,
and then
that
she
one.
like stumped them into mud and then climbed and
And she
managed to
lives.
get up. She fucking lived. Not only did she live in court, she like was a witness and was like, "That's the guy."
Yeah.
He did
that's great.
this!
That's great.
And she held up her cool robotic arms.
Oh, that's a hell yeah.
Yeah,
I
she
heard
had
that-
these like really sick
fuck, I
prosthetic
thought you were
arms.
doing a bit. That's
no,
fucking
yeah, she had
awesome.
really cool prosthetic arms, and she went on to.
I'm sure she would. She's not like, this is better, but like
No.
that sounds rad.
She's like a very that I think her name is Mary Vincent. She was an incredibly resilient survivor.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and she made a foundation for helping other women that survived like sexual assault and kidnapping. Anyway, Abby's sad stories.
I'm trying to talk about this movie.
I'm
all right?
really on
In the-
tangents today.
In the dead zone,
Okay.
all right? Because like that ties into the ending when all of the animals come to attack. Because all of their pranks range from why don't we tap on the window so it's hard to sleep,
Yeah.
to getting a bear to like throw him off a cliff. Like they're trying to murder him for sure.
Really quickly, what do you think about the choice to not have the animals talk? Because I kept expecting them to talk, and sometimes they'd make little noises, and you'd see their thoughts in like little bubbles,
Little weird speech
Yeah,
bubbles.
but what did you think about them not talking? Because
That was apparently Roger Cumble's idea.
okay,
One of the few pieces of production trivia I had found, or just production information really, was that it was like one of Cumble's major ideas included the creatures not speaking. It was his idea, and I like it.
I like it too.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's more tasteful. If it cuts to them all like, you know, because they have these like fucking committee meetings where I also think it's a smart choice to have the raccoon be the avatar. Like he's the lead creature.
Yeah, because it gives you some hero. But I was going to say, the film confused me. I mean, there's a reason it's on the list. The film confused me because Brendan Fraser is meant to be their villain, the animal's villain. Like, they are working against him. But because we only ever see him and his home life and him talking, and we don't really get to fully connect with an animal apart from see the raccoon, I kept forgetting that they were the good guys, and I kept kind of believing that they were there to torture him, and I felt bad for him rather than them until the end.
This movie has a really weird relationship with environmentalism, and I think it's because the writer is the kind of person who thinks environmentalism is stupid.
Do you reckon?
I think the movie
I thought it was-
wants to be pro-environmentalism, but
Yeah.
I think he finds them annoying. And I think you can see that in the way that the mum and the son are written.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, honestly, because like so often they're like, that's not very eco-friendly, and it's meant to be the kind of thing that is like, we get that they're right, but it's like he doesn't need to hear that. They're attacking him.
They do obnoxiously clink their keep cups together at a certain point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
That's what I mean. I think the movie is like the text, if you were to just read it, is trying to be pro-environmentalism. It's clearly produced by an entity that is not.
Oh yeah, I see where you're coming from.
And I think you get that in the fucking the way the animals, like they are the villains, but like that's the twist.
Is that they're actually the good guys.
They actually have a family
the raccoon
too.
has a family that it's just looking out for.
Oh my god. That
revelation.
woman is also someone's daughter. It's that equivalent but for animals.
Man, if a guy doesn't have a sister or a mother, I just don't know what he's going to do to a woman he sees out in the street. Because that's the only thing keeping them from attacking us.
The only thing keeping them together. That's why I think you should have more children. I'm a fan of multiple children just because like you got to give them a sister.
Yeah.
You have to do it or they might fuck up.
Yeah, they'll never understand that women are people too.
Animal mistakes.
I do love that bit in Barbie when Ken is like to that guy, so you don't have the patriarchy anymore? And he's like, oh, no, we've got the patriarchy. We're just better at hiding it now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty honest moment.
Yeah.
But like, despite that, it's got some good gags. Like
it does.
When it sees Brendan Fraser and he walks out, it's like, nature. And then the camera pivots around and we hear like old-timey steam whistle and see all the construction. That's a good gag.
Yeah. I also like that bit where he sets up all the traps in the back garden and they all have signs like yummy.
Yeah.
Like eat here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of fun.
More blueberries.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of fun. I mean, and also Brendan Fraser's a delight to watch. He just is. I enjoy him. Even in a shit film, I enjoy him.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Like they are trying to murder him. At one point, the raccoon lets in what seems to be 15 to 20 skunks into his car. And then he tries to drive away. They spray him with, like, not what is in reality liquid spray, but like a gas that is so flooding his car you cannot see through it. And he like
crashes.
He comes out like a ghost.
He crashes into some of the construction that's going on around him. They pull him out and his like head is smeared against the glass. He looks dead when they pull him out.
Yeah.
And then it happens again like the next day.
But they don't believe that there's animals after him. They find him at one point. The raccoon has summoned a bear using some sort of animalistic ritual, I imagine, to fool him, because at first he sees the eyes and he thinks it's the raccoon, but then the eyes stand up and it's actually a bear.
Yeah.
And he runs not into his house, he runs into a porta potty, insane choice, but he runs into the porta potty and the bear is like bashing him around. I'm like, the raccoon fully wants the bear to maul him.
Yeah.
And the porta potty is left up in a tree and they're still like, you're going crazy.
I know. I was thinking as well, even if they did think he was just going crazy, Brooke Shields as his wife is so angry at him for going crazy a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's going on? Whereas if I thought Claude was losing his mind and if I genuinely thought he was having a psychotic break and thought raccoons were after him and I was certain he was making it up, I don't think my reaction would be one of anger. Mine would be of like fear and concern.
They successfully...
Of like, what's happened to my husband?
Yeah, they successfully push him off the ravine. Yeah. And, like, he's found later, and, like, yeah, he should have talked to her before talking to his boss on the phone. But, like, he's bloody and, like, his shirt's ripped and ruined. And she's like, oh, I just need you to talk to me. I'm like, take him to a hospital.
Yeah.
He's not, I mean, it'll probably cost them, like, what, $10,000? I don't know how America works.
The ambulance alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's $2,000 for an ambulance trip in America.
Oh, my God. I mean...
In Australia, I think it's $200.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a bit more affordable.
It is a bit more affordable.
Pretty sure inhalers
I think a lot of people think they're free, and they're not.
Yeah, they're not. I think inhalers are $300 or $400 in America.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What the
inhalers.
fuck? What the fuck? You need those to breathe.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Come to Australia. We love foreigners.
Also, you know, our healthcare is free as long as you don't have any problems.
You know, Claude was saying that me and him should really sign up for private health insurance before everything explodes because I technically don't have a diagnosis yet.
Yeah.
So I should sign up now before my body really caves in on itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's neat. That'll help that'll make hospital visits affordable.
Yeah.
You know, that's fun.
Well, luckily, my hospital visit coming up to sort out my heart issues, free, because they can't actually make me pay for it because it's not a commercial test. I'm a guinea pig. So it's free.
That's great. It's free because it's for science.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'm a test subject.
So Furry Vengeance. Oh my God, sorry. I just the fucking constant needle drops. I forgot I wrote about it. There's so many songs in this movie, and it really gets to you in the first act.
Yeah.
But
what were some of the highlight songs for you? Because from memory, what do I remember? I remember song 2 by Blur at one point.
Yeah, classic.
What else do they use?
Don't Bring Me Down, Bruce.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I don't know what it is with Bruce and why he's constantly trying to bring down the main guy from ELO, whose name I've forgotten.
Makes me think of you because you used to sing it, but you sing it in a very particular way, which is Don't Bring Me Down, Bruce.
Yeah.
Don't bring me down, Bruce. That's what you used to do all the time.
Yeah. It really gets stuck in your head, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess to me, I was just trying to say Bruce, but like it's
you thought
short
it was
enough.
very funny
it's hard to,
that they say Bruce.
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah.
It is funny.
Okay, Michelle.
They're a funny band.
Yes, Michelle.
You know, Mr. Blue Sky. I've been obsessed with a bit in Mr. Blue Sky because it's in like the third iteration of the verse or whatever. And it, you know, is talking all about Mr. Blue Sky, and he's like, Mr. Blue, you did it right. And then this is the bit I'm obsessed with. But here comes Mr. Night creeping over. And I'm like, that's incredible to introduce this new mythology.
I wish everyone could see the little hand dance moves you just did to it as well.
I was trying to creep. Yeah, it's a pretty funny bit.
Okay, back to Furry Vengeance.
Okay, yeah. I mean, for one, I have problems with the plot. Oh, no, that's right. That's what I wrote down with the skunk bit. That's why I brought it up, because he gets fucking Newman'd in, like, for Jurassic Park. Wayne Knight. Wayne Knight in Jurassic Park. Like, they get him in the car. They're trying to murder him. This is a horrifying movie.
It is, actually. The more you... Yeah. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm pretty sure... Like, I saw it because I just looked up the Wikipedia literally just to see when it was made. I'm sorry. I wanted to know the year. And I saw it, they listed it in Wikipedia as a black comedy film.
Yes.
And I was like, that's odd.
That's funnier than any gag in the movie is to list it as a black comedy.
Do you think it's because of the elements of death in the film? The themes around death?
I think so. I mean, I would say, like, this movie has a lot of spiritual similarity, I think, to Are We Done Yet? In a lot of ways. Like, to quote the great George Lucas, it's like they rhyme, you know?
Also, let's talk about Tyler.
Sure, the kid.
Yeah, he was so annoying. I love how it starts and he's sitting in his room and he's like on the floor with his wall against like his back against the wall, and he's on Facebook and he makes a status being like, Tyler wishes he could go back to his old life.
Yeah, it's like, is missing his old life.
Yeah.
Back when Facebook statuses prompted you to be like, is this?
And then he posts it and you're like, oh buddy, in 12 years you're gonna look at that post and be like, that's so sweet and cringe.
Yeah. I realized something as I was watching this movie. I was like, man, why are all teenagers written like this? Like, I know that teenagers often have a phase where they become really annoying. But at the same time, I was like, why are they written in this specific way? And I realized it's because the people that write these movies often have terrible relationships with their kids.
Or even just not kids at all. There's a lot of people that write these films and they're not even like parents yet.
Sure. I mean, I think a lot of people who write like this movie, I mean, I'll look it up, but I'm sure this movie was written by someone in their 40s. Written by Michael Carnes and Josh Gilbert. Then neither of them, I don't know how to look them up because they're not linkable.
Yeah, that's always the case on this podcast. The writers, they don't have a wiki page.
No. But you can't forget Roger Cumble.
Bring me
Cumble.
down.
It's not Cumble, it's Cumble.
Bruce, don't bring me down.
Oh, hey, here we go. One of the two writers, Michael Carnes, he wrote Mega Babies.
All right.
He wrote 3 episodes of Mega Babies. He wrote Mr. Woodcock. He was the creator of a show called Coyote.
Cool.
And he wrote on a show called Walker Independence, which I assume might be related to Walker Texas Ranger.
Interesting.
Walker, maybe it's Walker Endgame. Mr. Woodcock is a Billy Bob Thornton vehicle. Oh, with Sean William Scott and Susan Sarandon. Wow.
Cool.
It's pretty good. The poster is him dressed in like a gym teacher sort of uniform and holding 2 basketballs near his nuts.
Oh, good.
It's pretty funny.
Oh, good.
It's pretty funny. I think Frank's kind of a real one in this.
Sorry?
Frank, the like head of he's like the the butler or head servant of the construction team.
He's such a sweetie.
This movie really taught me a lot about class, and I'm not doing a bit. I was kind of watching it, really engaging with it on a class perspective. I'm like, so he is like that sort of old relationship that the house would have with like the head servant and stuff. But in that way, he is also in some ways sort of a class traitor. You know, even though he's working class, he is so subservient to the needs of the wealthy that you would, in a revolution, not have him on your side at all.
No, he would betray you in the revolution.
He would.
For his masters.
He would, absolutely. He's
too helpful.
Yeah, he's too master-pilled.
But he was sweet. He was a sweet character.
He was good. Well, the reason why I wrote he was a real one is that the movie does try and engage in the middle of it. Like, what if it was funny if a man wore a bra? Oh my God, it's funny. And the man wear woman clothing. That's evil and bad. Frank doesn't bat an eye. Doesn't care about it.
Trans ally.
Yeah, trans ally Frank.
Queer ally.
Absolutely. He is on our side.
It's canon.
It's canon.
He's in the closet, I've decided.
Oh, I was thinking it's like maybe his sister is trans.
Oh.
And so he's like, there's no problems here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong. I do
Maybe
wish he
he's
would
from Puerto
wrangle
Rico.
his group. Why Puerto Rico?
Because in Puerto Rico, they've got a really high rate of trans residents and also drag queens. You know?
Yeah. I guess in the same way that like
Rican.
Brazil does, and a lot of South America has higher rates of trans people.
I want to ask a question about Puerto Rico, but I cannot let us get sidelined again.
It's too late.
But why is it a territory of America?
Because of colonialism.
But like, so they've never been liberated from America, and America doesn't consider them a state? Why are they not a state?
They've never been allowed to vote on becoming a state, mostly because they vote very Democrat, and to have a territory ascend to being a state, you need like a full majority of the Senate.
Right.
And what, Republicans are going to let Puerto Rico become a state, and then Democrats get 2 more senators?
Okay.
Never going to happen.
All right. You answered that really well. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Back to the show.
Do you ever think about how many movies rely on the plot of what if I was forbidden from telling my boss I have a problem?
All the time.
Yeah.
And you never fully understand why people don't just talk to someone about the issue that they're experiencing.
A lot of the drama of this movie involves him in quite dangerous situations, being sometimes attacked while on the phone to his boss.
Yeah.
Or in the wake of immediately preceding being on the phone to his boss, and he is seemingly forbidden from telling him, I'm under attack.
And the boss doesn't seem to bat an eyelid when he's under attack. Also, Ken Jeong was so funny as Neil Lyman. And one of the highlights for me was a bit where he's talking to Brendan Fraser and he gets a call and he stands up and he goes, hey, Ma, you owe me $25. I thought that was just such a funny throwaway line of like, be a schmuck, be an asshole.
Yeah. Ken Jeong is funny.
He is funny.
He's funny. I think he sometimes, and especially in this movie, I would say like flirts with racism. I don't know. I feel like I'm not
kind of racism?
I feel like I'm not qualified. He does this very specific like doing Chinese voice, and often he's not actually speaking Mandarin, he's speaking gibberish.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not the right sort of person to declaratively say it is.
Especially because he is himself
exactly
Asian.
But what I'm saying is if this was my production, I would say, hey, Ken, that's great. Can we do another take?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I would perhaps back away from it.
I would love to
personally.
know what he thinks.
I don't really care about what he thinks because I think he thinks it's chill. He does it.
No, but I'm wondering if people have asked him to do it.
But he does it in his stand-up.
Yeah, but I think that like there's a lot of stories that come out of like a lot of Asian actors being asked to heighten or amp up
sure.
their Chineseness and put on a voice and do an accent. I just wonder if he's just a product of that.
Well, that's also what I mean. I guess I'm thinking of it from the perspective of having heard especially East Asian comedians talking about how they know other comedians doing the classic I'm doing an impression of my grandma who's much more Chinese than I am, you know? And it like how to them it feels like it's really playing into the like doing a funny voice isn't racism a little funny thing, but like you're allowed to. And I'm like, this is not my thing to really pick a stand on.
You know what I appreciate?
Yeah.
His character, Neil Lyman, it's not a Chinese name.
No, it's not.
Nor is it like a second generation Chinese name.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not like it's like it's quite a. I feel like it was just written as a white
That's
role,
what I mean.
and then they were like, Ken
it-
Jeong is too funny. We need him in.
I think it's all Ken Jeong's style. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's why I described it as flirting. I'm not saying he's doing a thing, you know?
Yep.
I'm just saying I would say, let's get another take.
Hey, John, let's do that. Fuck. Hey, Ken, let's do that again.
Let's do Why don't we try that one again?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Why don't we do a different read on that? It's maybe how I would wrangle it. Hey, do you want to hear some trivia?
I'd love to hear some trivia.
Oh my God. Sorry. I also... Before trivia, I want to say two more things. One is, towards the end, we see the Forest Festival. And there's this close-up of Lyman's about to start talking and announcing, and behind him is this band playing. And it's so close to them because we're meant to see the band playing. And I was like, wait, hang on. And I went back and I looked, and they're so clearly, all of their hands are like a foot away from the fucking instruments.
Nice.
I've never seen a band more clearly not playing music.
Nice. And
the other is the end credit blooper thing. Did you watch it?
I did. It was really wholesome.
It was wholesome. This is not critiquing it. I always think about the logistics of those because they're like from different parts. And I'm like, when they're filming, they're doing like all right, Brendan, let's do a take. And, he turns over and he sees Brooke Shields as a raccoon hybrid monster in his bed. And he's like, ah! And they're like, great, that's great. Now we'll do the Insane in the Brain one. Can you mouth these particular parts of it and just like sing it together or whatever? And they're like, okay, we'll do that one. And then like for, I guess, 3 minutes, they'll like the crew just watch them lip sync it.
Yeah. They do that a lot. I mean, this is probably the 7th time I've brought this up on this podcast. And I'm going to ask you again, even though every time I ask you, you say, you've asked me and the answer is no. But I want to make sure. Have you seen Bride and Prejudice?
This is why you keep asking. Yes, you showed it to me.
Yes, okay. Oh my God, okay.
In like fucking 2013.
And I feel like we
years
covered
ago.
this like literally 4 episodes ago again.
Oh my God.
But they do this bit where they're singing along to hot, 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 and they clearly do just do a take, and they're like, okay, now do the lip sync to hot, 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 and maybe they do like a verse of it, not the whole song.
Yeah,
maybe a verse.
Because I'm like, do they do the whole? Surely they're not the whole 3 minutes each time.
Not every
but
time.
The planning to have it be the specific line is crazy. But there's also like full on like specific scenes shot for this. There's like parody bits where like we see the Tyler and Amber, his love interest being like from Greece and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, Brooke Shields is doing a fucking Britney Spears
They
parody.
clearly had a lot of fun with it on the
Yeah, they
side, which
did.
I appreciated. There's that bit, where she's like surrounded by all these people.
She
while
does a
she's-
Blue Lagoon parody, which is meant to be kind of fun.
Oh God, everything about Brooke Shields makes me
I know.
upset.
That's why I'm like, it's fun, but you're really making Brooke Shields do a lot for you right now.
Yeah. I guess this was before everyone recognized that the beginning of her career was really pedophilic and fucked up.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about Blue Lagoon.
Yeah.
We're talking about Pretty Baby. Have you heard about that film?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Hey, do you want to hear some trivia?
Yes.
IMDb trivia.
I don't have much trivia. I do have 3, though. In order to save costs, many of the animals were actually puppets, which is true, but also many more of them were CG. Brendan Fraser claimed there was only one scene in the entire film that he actually worked alongside a real animal, that being the scene with the turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I mean, like, he said alongside, because like the bear scene, for example, we see it's definitely CG bear and he runs, and then there's shots of definitely a real bear. Well, I mean, sorry, it wasn't CG. It was definitely a guy in a bear suit. Then there's definitely a real bear, but there's like no other actors in shot. They're doing a lot of trick photography, I think they call it.
Do you reckon they hired the guy in the bear suit from the Chinese zoo?
What?
Did you not hear that news story a few
No.
weeks ago?
What?
God, it would have landed well if you had. A few weeks ago, there was this, I guess, a scandal, but a news story where people started speculating that one of the bears at the zoo was a man in a bear suit because he looked so strange standing up, and the Chinese zoo had to come forward and say, it's definitely a bear. We've had this bear for like 8 years. He just looks strange because he's a sun bear and they look weird when they stand up.
They do look weird
but
when
when
they
you look
stand
at the
up,
photos, you're like, it does really look like a man in a bear suit. I'll show you. It's crazy. It looks completely unbelievable. Chinese bear.
I was like, this sounds like a joke from the 80s that you're kind of like uncomfortable with, you know? Is he the bear from the Chinese zoo? Yeah, that does look like a guy in a suit.
Oh, it's so silly. It even looks like his mouth is so open, it looks like he's staring out through it.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Like,
Okay, wait, now do the joke.
like this.
Oh my God, yeah, that one especially.
Yeah.
His proportions are quite...
So did they hire out the guy in the bear suit from the Chinese zoo?
Ayo.
Ayo.
That's funny.
Thanks so much.
Brendan Fraser admits that he is ashamed of this film.
Oh.
I know, and I don't think he deserves that to hold that shame.
He doesn't need more shame in his life.
Doesn't need more shame.
People try and shame him enough.
I was telling my housemate about this movie, and then I got to tell them the whole story of Brendan Fraser, and at the end they were just like, wow, that guy's been through a lot. And I'm like, yeah,
He's been
man.
through so much. And on top of it, people give him so much shit for gaining weight and for losing
Yeah.
his physique. And it's like, he is a fucking human being. He's
specifically,
getting older.
one
Let
of the
him do what he wants.
Pieces of trivia that I didn't end up including was about how he specifically was excited no longer doing an action movie to let the weight pile on. He was like excited to not have to keep it off.
It's tough. He's getting older. He was having children at that point. He just... People, when you get older, you have less time to work out. You have less energy to work out. Leave him alone.
Here's the last one. I normally don't include these different actors were men, but originally Steve Carell and Jeremy Piven were both attached to play the lead role at various times before Brendan Fraser was eventually cast.
My God. I can't even imagine Steve Carell in this.
I
just
can.
can't.
Carell, I can imagine.
I can
'cause he
imagine Jeremy
in
Piven.
2010. In 2010,
He was already
you know,
in the office for 5 years. He's too successful.
No, but that's what he was on TV for a few years, you know? Like, this is Evan Almighty era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Or, like, you know, Jeremy Piven. This movie is only not as bad as it could be because of how charming and hilarious Brendan Fraser specifically is.
Yes, Jeremy Piven doesn't have those qualities. Can I ask?
Piven? Yeah.
Jeremy Piven is... We're going to see him in
Spy Kids 4.
Kids 4 Time Warped. Is that what it's called?
No,
Or
All About Time.
All About Time.
Or something.
Out of Time?
I don't think it's Out of Time.
Okay. But...
Or maybe it's About Time. No, that's the Crash Bandicoot one.
Yeah. But he's going to be in Spy Kids 4. Because he plays like 4 roles in that,
Yeah,
will
we get
he be an
quadruple Piven.
all-star immediately?
I
Will he
think he would be an honorary. I think he would take the lead. He'd be 5
Yeah,
appearances.
exactly.
This movie is carried off the back of Brendan Fraser. There's the one bit where he's getting sprayed by the skunk again, and he says, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" He's like trying to like take dominance over it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you hear some reviews?
Yes, please.
Reviews!
What would happen if one day I just said no?
I would do it anyway. I would do it anyway. You don't actually have power over me.
That's cool.
This is a situation in which you have false decisions. You have false autonomy.
You want me to think I have control, but I have none.
Yeah, exactly. You get it. This movie has 3.8 on IMDb. It's got 7% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the critic consensus being a thin premise stretched far beyond serviceable length. Furry vengeance subjects Brendan Fraser and the audience to 92 minutes of abuse.
7%.
Here's an IMDb review titled, "This movie had me silently laughing, crying laugh emoji," by Drama Babe 2930.
Drama babe. Sounds hot.
This movie had me silently laughing. God fucking hell, Abby.
That was a big one.
God damn it.
It stinks.
You know you drive me insane.
I know.
Whenever you go like, "Michelle, you seem like you're a little crazy," and I'm like, "This is your fault.
Yeah.
You made me insane."
Yeah, maybe I'm always like, oh my God, Michelle always seems so like frustrated. It's because I'm here.
Yeah, you're the common denominator.
I am. That's actually a really good point. You're usually in a great mood, but then you see me and
Yeah, notice how when you come see me, you're like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Great." And then by the end, I'm like, "I'm not doing great."
I'm not feeling good.
That's not true. It's usually the opposite.
Yeah. Thanks.
Love me some Brendan Fraser, period. But this is one of my favorites. What the fuck? Love me some Brendan Fraser, period. But this is one of my favorites. I see a lot of haters on here who need to shut up.
Whoa.
It's a silly movie. Corny and heartwarming. My kids laughed, but I was literally almost peeing. Sorry, there's a full stop, space, and then an exclamation mark, and then a space, and then a full stop.
I really get it now.
Yeah. How could you hate this movie or rate it below a 10 is beyond me. Yes, it's cheesy. Yes, raccoons can't drive, but who gives F? As in, a fuck.
Oh, AF.